It's been 4 weeks since the deadly Maui wildfires. I wanted to give a few updates that have popped up for the last couple of days. Let's dive in and learn more. Hi everyone, Alex with Empowering Survivors. And like I said, it's been 4 weeks since the fires that happened on August 8th. And right now, the death toll has stopped at 115, which so many people keep saying that the death toll was going to increase and it just kind of stopped. So I'm not sure why that is. Still, people haven't been identified, and there's still maybe hundreds of people still missing. So wanted to share a few updates with you. Before we do that, if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, really appreciate if you join the Empowering Survivors community, which is a supportive group of individuals who want to be a voice for the voiceless missing persons, other survivors, and those who don't have a voice. So I meant to share this map last time I did a video and I forgot. So this is a map of the Lahaina area that was burnt. And what's really interesting is that everything that's in red was a destroyed building, building or a house. And everything that was in gray is not destroyed. So like there are entire, like right here, this entire area, I believe it's like a house, it's a community. Most of those houses and townhouses were not burnt. And I did follow somebody on YouTube that shared a video, and he said he himself was a real estate agent, and he said that many of those houses were newer buildings or newer construction that maybe had less flammable materials. But like this little building, I don't know exactly what that is, but this building right here didn't burn. Here you can see that where this entire area, even though it's east, that didn't burn. Almost all of this area here didn't burn. So it's really interesting what house, there's some here that didn't burn. So it's really interesting what burnt and what didn't burn. And it would be interesting to see once information comes out of, what actually happened. So thought that was really interesting. Now, this is the latest press release from the Maui, it says from the Maui Communications Office. This was posted yesterday, September 4th. And this I thought was really interesting. The fact that there's 3 main fire areas. Of course, we've heard of Lahaina. That has been contained 100% and takes up the most amount of acres, 2,170. The Kula fire, which we've also heard about, which is 202 acres, that's still not only been 95% contained. So in 4 weeks, almost 4 weeks, there's still 5% not contained. And the Olinda fire, which this is kind of alarming here, over 1,000 acres, that's still 90% contained. So it's still 10%, which is really, really crazy. It says here, the Maui Fire Department advises the public that extinguishing the upcountry, which is Olinda and Kula, fires may take an extended period of time given the large burn area and the nature of the rural terrain. Although containment percentages have not changed over recent days, MFD continues to reassure the public there are no active threats among the 3 ongoing fires. I mean, of course, unless a new hurricane passes by, right? And just looking in hindsight, when you think about it, right? Many people are saying that many of the Maui residents saying that they did not get notified, even though the Maui Emergency Management MEMA says that they sent out text messages. People are still saying they did not get them. And so more than ever, I mean, not only was there a fire, but there was a hurricane close by. It didn't maybe the eye didn't go right over Maui, but the hurricane itself was probably enough of a concern to sound those warning sirens. So that I'm just thinking, after thinking about this for a little bit, that alone could have been a lifesaver for people. Now, yeah, maybe some people might have driven close to the fire. Okay, well, you go the other way. But what happened is that people in Lahaina were barricaded in from the north and the south. Those who survived or who were able to get out of that area were those who didn't listen to the police who went around those barricades, which is just alarming. So the Vitality and Search update says there's still 115 confirmed fatalities, with 100% of the Lahaina disaster areas searched, according to officials. Entering to the disaster areas. At this time, there's no list allowing residents to return to the disaster area in Lahaina. There will be a coordinated effort to develop a plan for the safe return of residents. Currently, the disaster area is restricted to authorized personnel only. Dangers include ash that may contain toxic, cancer-causing chemicals with debris, including broken glass, exposed electrical wires, and other objects. Unstable structures may contain hazardous materials and could collapse, causing injury. For those who can return to their properties, county officials urge all individuals to utilize personal protective equipment, PPE. So wear a mask. And I know that there are some of the charities are trying to donate air purifiers to help those who are in the area so that they're not breathing in, those toxic fumes, all the ash and all that. It's been reported that many people after 9/11 died. Those who didn't die in the actual building collapses, many people died afterward from smoke and inhalation based symptoms. All right, so there's still an unsafe water advisory. And it says for potable water, bring large water containers too. And then there's areas here in Lahaina and Upper Kula that residents can get water. Unaccounted for individuals. We still need your help identifying individuals reported unaccounted for following the Lahaina wildfire disaster. The validated list of names is available at Maui. Okay, let me go here and see. So on September 1st, the FBI released a validated list of names of individuals who remain unaccounted for following the Lahaina wildfire disaster. And it says here, the county of Maui released the second list of the names of 385 individuals who have been reported unaccounted for following the Lahaina wildfire disaster. This updated list is the result of the first list of 388 names, which was released on August 24th, which quickly resulted in finding 245 of those individuals and removed from the first list. 122 individuals of those original 388 remain unaccounted for and remain on the list. Over 3,000 individuals have been found safe who were reported unaccounted for previously. So the names on the list were compiled by the FBI and were deemed credible as long as the following criteria were provided. The first name of the person who was accounted for, the last name of the person who was unaccounted for. The first name of the person who was unaccounted for, the last name of the person who was unaccounted for. A verified contact number for the person who reported the individual as unaccounted for. The Maui Police Department needs the public's help in providing information on anyone who is reported unaccounted for and whose name is on the list, but knows the person can be accounted for. So they're asking people to come forward with that information. Anyone wishing to report an individual who is still unaccounted for is asking to email unaccounted@mpt.net and provide the following information. The person reporting, first and last name, contact information, and relationship with the unaccounted for individual, an unaccounted for individual, first and last name, age or date of birth, last known location, and last known physical address of residence. For those seeking information regarding those who are unaccounted for, the Family Assistance Center is located at the Hyatt's Regency Monarch Ballroom. If you live on a neighbor island or the U.S. mainland, are the immediate family member of a person missing as a result of the Maui wildfires, and you wish to provide a DNA sample to assist, please call the FBI Honolulu Division. DNA samples are only for identification of wildfire victims and survivors and will not be stored or used for any other purpose. The FAC, this is interesting, has received reports about Maui community members receiving calls from individuals or organizations claiming to be with DNA services. These telephone calls are scams, and anyone receiving them should hang up immediately and report them to the Maui Police Department's non-emergency number. So yes, people are going to be scamming from all sorts of things. Here we have people claiming to be DNA services. I'm sure there's insurance scam. I'm sure that there's real estate scam. I'm sure that there is tax credits. I'm sure that there's FEMA scams. I'm sure that there's scams for everything. I mean, people there need to be so, so, so careful. My goodness. It's like the worst of humanity. Of course, like I said in one of my previous videos, the best of humanity, right? Like look at the helpers, always look for the helpers, but on the same, on the other side of that, there's the people who take advantage of those that are most vulnerable. So unfortunately, in disaster, we need to be extra mindful and extra conscious, even though people are down and out, don't have homes, have lost loved ones, are grieving, and are feeling the worst, you still need to be conscious of these things, unfortunately. I'm kind of skipping through the rest of this. This is kind of interesting. Communications. The Federal Communications Commission has temporarily waived certain eligibility rules to ensure that people receiving federal disaster assistance due to the Maui fires can easily apply for and enroll in Lifeline, a federal program that helps lower the cost of phone and internet service. That's cool. So it says here there's a lifelinesupport.org to enroll because, that cell phone services and Wi-Fi services can be expensive. So I'm sure that that's going to help a lot of people. So that's a really good service to have. And then there's vacant PO boxes at post offices across Maui will be temporarily made available at no charge to Lahaina residents who lost their homes at their Lahaina downtown post office PO boxes. So that's interesting. Qualifying residents may request their free PO boxes at any Maui post office. That's cool. And then unemployment. Workers, business owners, and self-employed residents of Maui who became unemployed or had reduced work hours due to the wildfires may be eligible for disaster unemployment benefits from August 13th through February 10th, 2024, if unemployment continues to be a direct result of the disaster. Regular unemployment insurance and disaster unemployment benefits cannot be paid at the same time. The deadline to apply is September 25th. So that's going to be important for those who had jobs in Maui. And then the mental health support. Many people are experiencing strong emotions, anguish, and deep loss following the devastating Maui wildfires. Mental health support is available. Visit Maui NUI Strong info for a comprehensive list of resources for individuals, families, and helpers. In addition, the Red Cross Disaster Distress Helpline is available 24/7 for counseling and support. So one thing I mentioned in my video yesterday is that word on the street is that the Red Cross is going to be paying for funerals for those who died in the Maui wildfires. So I haven't seen any confirmation, any verified source on this, but I think that would be amazing because funeral costs are coming out to about $8,000 or more for people. So this is going to be a huge relief for people that have lost everything, maybe don't have jobs, lost loved ones, and now have to pay $8,000 or more for funeral services, for a proper funeral burial. It's just hopefully that is going to be available for them. So there's definitely been a lot of questions and criticism also on why is there this strange discrepancy between those that are missing and like what's the real number? And so that's part of the reason why the officials are asking people to report those who are missing, and or if you know that somebody is not missing, to report that as well. Big discrepancy. I posted last week about the children, about 2,000 children that were unaccounted for by the Department of Education. Now, that doesn't mean that those are 2,000 missing children. And that was over a week ago. So that number has probably decreased anyways. But where are those children? They may not be, I keep saying, they may not be missing, meaning like they're not like in the ether somewhere, but maybe their families are off island or they've moved and they just haven't reported back. Maybe some of those people were immigrants. Maybe some of those people were, or children of immigrants. Maybe some of them just don't have any contact information, like they don't have, their devices may have been burnt or wet or stolen or something or lost, right? Like there's so many things that could be happening. Definitely not a good plan, not a good system for trying to get a hold of these families, especially the children of the families, which the kids were supposed to start school. Most of them were starting school, at least public school, the following day. So this happened on August 8th, and many of the public school children were supposed to be in school on August 9th. So almost a month goes by and these kids aren't accounted for, right? I mean, that's strange. At the very least, the teachers have been accounted for. So that's good to know, but the students haven't. So that's where there's the strange discrepancy. And, maybe the families don't know that they're supposed to, report back in at least to the schools, right? So I don't know what's happening there. I haven't gotten any update yet on that. Actually, let's go ahead and look. So this is interesting. And this was a post from August 29th, but it says Superintendent Keith Hayashi announced the department's tentative goal of welcoming students back to the 3 West Maui campuses after fall break. Now, keep in mind, there's 4 public schools. One of them was completely decimated. It's not going to reopen anytime soon. The other 3 West Maui campuses had wind damage and things like that, but they can be opened. That's good that they at least are going to be able to open up the schools. It says here they're aiming to welcome students back to Lahaina public school campuses following fall break pending environmental clearances. So even though there was some wind damage, they can still be cleared, of course, assuming that they get cleared. Hawaii State Department of Education Superintendent Keith Hayashi announced the department has set a tentative goal of welcoming students back to the 3 West Maui campuses after fall break in mid-October. The health and safety of our students and staff remains our highest priority in our plans to reopen campuses. This is a very fluid situation and things may still change. However, we know that a tentative reopening timeline will help with planning and bring some stability for our staff, students, and families during this very turbulent time. Fall break runs from October 9th to the 13th. An exact date for students to return will depend on each school's phased reopening schedule. 3 of the 4 Lahaina schools have been closed since the August 8th wildfires as they undergo environmental assessments for air, water, and soil quality, as well as ensuring stable power and sufficient broadband connectivity. The State Department of Health has installed air quality sensors at the 3 campuses and will be installing additional devices in certain classrooms. The department is also working with Maui County to evaluate water quality at the schools and has hired a contractor to conduct soil sampling. Before the schools reopen, professional cleaners will be hired to thoroughly clean the schools. The King Kamehameha III elementary campus was damaged beyond repair. When students reopen after fall break, the department is planning for these students and staff to share a campus with Princess Elementary. The department is also planning for a future temporary site for the school while long-term plans are being made. As the department actively pursues opening after fall break, families have the following options. Families looking for an in-person learning option may temporarily enroll at the designated schools in Central and South Maui, with bus transportation from and to Lahaina to be provided by the department with dedicated support staff on board. The department's state distance learning program is currently accepting applications, and families may register for the state Kaipuni Hawaiian Immersion Distance Learning Program. For the week of September 5th to 8th, staff at all Lahaina schools are scheduled to be on administrative leave. That's this week. This week, and yesterday was a holiday, so that was closed. This week, the department brought together school level staff together to offer resources and learn how best to support employees. Maui families and community members are invited to meet with principals of Lahaina public schools and leaders to share input and discuss the latest updates for reopening schools and providing educational opportunities in West Maui. Both meetings will be held. Okay, so this happened on August 30th. They were hosting meetings on August 30th. So I think that there's also a discrepancy in the fact that some of the parents of these children who are unaccounted for probably just haven't, they either don't have any means of communication or they're not reporting these students. I mean, for all we know, some of these families may have moved and they're enrolling their students in local schools wherever they are. Right. And so obviously there's just a lot of miscommunication happening. I don't think these children are really missing, although unfortunately, some of them may have perished in the wildfires, and maybe some of their families also, and that's why they haven't been reported or haven't been accounted for. So, still things, I think, and I keep saying this in some of my comments and on my posts, that I think with any natural disaster, this is reasonable that there will be some people unaccounted for. Maybe 10%, 15%, maybe even 20%, depending on the situation. But almost a month, there was 60% of these students. I mean, at least as of last week. Now that number may have gone, but anything more than like 20% of these students unaccounted for is way too many people, way too many children, especially way too many children that are unaccounted for in the school system. So hopefully with some of these efforts to actually try to find these families that are missing, hopefully that will get more information out there so that we have an accurate number who is actually missing and who is sadly has passed away. Now, this is kind of interesting. Hawaii and Maui are being sued by victims' family for gross negligence in the deadly wildfires. And this is supposed to be a photo, but it looks like a painting. Oh my gosh, look at this. Doesn't it look like some type of like an impressionist painting or something? Wow. It says Maui's children face grief, destruction as schools start up after wildfire. That's what the file photo shows. So is this maybe the school? The father of a woman who died during last month's wildfires in Hawaii has sued the state and the county of Maui in a first of its kind lawsuit, accusing the governments of gross negligence leading to the blazes. Filed on Monday in Hawaii State Court, the lawsuit is the first stemming from the wildfires to be lodged against the state. And if this one has already started, you know that there's going to be more. It also names the state's electric utility, Hawaiian Electric, which is already facing several lawsuits, and a major landowner on the island, Bishop Estate, over the fires that razed the historic town of Lahaina and Maui. The lawsuit filed by Harold Wells on behalf of his 57-year-old daughter and her estate alleges that risk of wildfires were well known to the defendants and that the fires were preventable. Measures that would have reduced the risk, including proper vegetation and electrical grid management, were not taken by the defendants. Large landowners, including the state, county, and Bishop Estate, had a duty to reduce wildfire risk by regularly clearing dry vegetation in the area, but failed to do so, the lawsuit claimed. Hawaiian Electric, meanwhile, failed to de-energize its electrical equipment during high winds, sparking the fires, the lawsuit said. Representatives for the defendants did not immediately respond to the request for comment on Tuesday. Now, keep in mind that the county, Maui County, is suing the Hawaiian Electric, stating that it was because they didn't de-energize the power lines that the fires happened. Well, they said that yes, maybe they hadn't de-energized or cut off power that resulted in the first fire, but the second fire that hit Lahaina was not due to their power lines, because they said that the fires happened that the power lines had been cut off in Lahaina 6 hours before the wildfires hit there. And so like the whole thing, I mean, it's just mind-boggling, because it's like a comedy of errors that you start to wonder, like, are these really all coincidences? Because why was there, I mean, there was no power yet, right? There was no power according to the Hawaiian Electric, yet the government is sending out warnings on your cell phone. Well, if the cell phones aren't working necessarily because of the lack of power, like maybe you can't charge your phone, right? And maybe you're not getting signal. I mean, like so many things could be happening here. Why they didn't do those darn sirens, right? I mean, it's just like so mind-boggling. Or why there wasn't somebody, those police officers who were barricading, right? Why weren't they given any information? Why weren't they helping to help people to find a way out? Why were they barricading? Why weren't they doing something, being more proactive? Just so many, is like, again, a comedy of errors, right? That you just say, how did all of this happen? Why did all of this happen? So Another thing I wanted to share here is I've been sharing Eric West from Hawaii Real Estate's channel. He's been sharing these lovely stories. Well, not lovely, but they're lovely survivors who are sharing their stories. And so he's been using his platform to share those stories so that we know what is actually going on. Well, there was somebody on Instagram, and that was picked up by other social media platforms, that said that he shared photo or video of a woman and her kids and called them homeless and used that to get money, to raise money. And because of that, he's actually apparently been fired or threatened to be fired by his real estate company. He posted this yesterday and he said that she has actually reached out to him and messaged him. She said, "Hi, Eric, this is Melissa. I also messaged you on IG. I can't take a call for several hours. I apologize for the misunderstanding. There's a different Eric West that was in question, and his picture was included in the post. The post has been removed when I found out about the identity mix-up, and I did reach out to people to clarify. Again, I'm so very sorry that you were mistaken for the other Eric." So I just wanted to put that out there because some people in my comments are saying why I'm sharing. There's like, is this the same Eric West? And I said, okay, well, I saw this and I just wanted to put that out there because I thought it was a little bit fishy that in her viral video, she's so concerned about somebody taking video or photo of her children, and there is a child in the background of her video that not only appears for a while, but also wasn't blurred out in the video. So I just find that, I'm not sure if I don't think that was her intention, but it just seems a little bit of hypocritical to me that if she's going to be calling out somebody else for sharing photos of or videos of images of children, that her own viral video showed a child in it. So I thought that was quite interesting. And I wanted to conclude with this really heartwarming story I saw on NBC News of some survivor stories.
In Maui, and an amazing act of heroism that may have saved an entire block of homes. It was all captured on video. Sam brought tonight with the story and the dramatic pictures.
I want you to record everything when we're leaving.
Right from those first heart-stopping moments, Jessica and Stephen Pickering knew their time was precious, leaving Lahaina with flames on their heels.
Oh my God.
And a wall of smoke in the rearview mirror.
We tried to get out of the neighborhood, but were blocked by cars.
Along the way, they spot a flash of fire in the bushes.
Oh my God, it's right there in the bushes.
What?
The fire!
Oh.
It's in the bushes.
Stephen leaps from the car to put out the flames, threatening a complete stranger's house. Were you thinking at all, this is crazy and it could cost us our lives?
Yes.
But what did his actions actually end up doing?
I think that he saved that area of the neighborhood.
Oh! The Pickerings say they barely survived without emergency sirens or even a text to warn them.
I haven't personally heard of a single notification that anybody received in all of my social network, period.
Out of how many people do you think that you've talked to?
Hundreds.
Hundreds. Maui County's response is under investigation, though officials have maintained that they warned residents through text and police loudspeakers in neighborhoods. They haven't specified where or when.
Always better safe than sorry. Lives and safety over structure anytime.
C. Ray Beltran spent more than 15 years with the Maui Emergency Management Agency as a senior safety official.
I would have said full evacuation.
In the morning?
In the morning, knowing the winds are this high. They're super high. Prepare for the worst and then hope for less.
The road to recovery looks long for Jessica and Stephen. One of their Maui diving shops went up in flames, along with about $1.5 million worth of inventory.
Having to say that we have nothing and hold your hand out and ask for help is really humbling and hard.
Still, there's a soulful silver lining across town in the Smith household, where Drew Smith recognized something familiar on social media.
I said, honey, come in here. Look at this. There's a God saving house. I said, oh my God, it's our neighborhood. And then we started looking. We're like, this is our house.
Smith says he's putting the Pickerings in his will. As for Stephen and Jessica, they have their lives and their love.
Oh my God, it's right there in the bushes.
And a whole bunch of neighbors ready to help them out if they ever need a hand. Sam Brock, NBC News, Lahaina.
Which I thought was remarkable. You know, even amidst they're trying to save themselves, they still stop to help their neighbors. So I thought that was really lovely. Two families who made it out and who, you know, just a heartwarming story there. I thought that was really, really important to share. So would love to hear your thoughts, everything we've talked about today. Some questionable things, still a lot of questions that we have for the Maui County county officials, state, even federal response. Still also some heartwarming stories, some good, some looking for the helpers, right? Like this gentleman was the helper, right? So it's always even within tragedy, disaster, look for the helpers. Let's highlight those stories as well. So I'd love for you to hit the thumbs up if you learned something today or if you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I'd really appreciate if you join the Empowering Survivors community, where we're the voice for the voiceless missing persons, survivors, and others who just need our support. With that, stay safe, stay thriving, and trust your intuition, and make sure to keep it empowering. Bye for now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button for notifications. Thank you.